Scene. Touch. Exterior. Park day. Michelle sits on a park bench watching a young girl, alone, shooting hoops on a park's basketball court. The young girl, named Stacy, is struggling a bit with her shot. Michelle stands and approaching the girl. The girl holds up her next shot when she sees Michelle walk onto the court.
You have a nice jump shot.
I'm working on it. I think I'm far from having a nice jump shot, but thanks.
Practice makes perfect, right?
I hope so.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
Hi, I'm Stacy.
Michelle holds up her hands, asking for the ball. Stacy gives her a bounce pass. Michelle dribbles, turns, and takes a shot that swishes through the nylon net.
Nice shot. You play?
Stacy retrieves the ball, gives Michelle another bounce pass.
Thanks. Used to. Stopped when I was about your age.
Michelle takes another shot, and this one swishes too.
Why did you stop?
Daddy issues.
Stacy bounces another pass to Michelle. She dribbles between her legs, stops, and pops another swish through the net.
Wow, you're good.
Michelle is smiling, looking amazed at her accuracy. Stacy retrieves the bouncing and bounces another pass to Michelle.
Just luck.
If that's luck, I need some of it.
Michelle bounces a pass back to Stacy. Stacy takes it, dribbles, stops, and pops, but her shot bounces off the back of the rim. She chases down the missed shot.
See?
Season's been over for 2 months. You doing this for fun or practice for next year?
For next year. Coach wants me to practice my jump shot throughout the summer to be ready for next season.
Stacy rises up, takes another shot, and swishes it.
I'm good at stationary jumpers, but not so good when I'm coming off a dribble or a screen.
Is this for JV?
Yes. Coach wants me to make the varsity next year. It's a big step since I'll be in 10th next year.
If you want some help, I can come here a couple times a week the next 2 weeks, help you with your jumper.
Really? I'd appreciate that.
Stacy takes another stationary jumper and nails it.
Are you from around here? You go to Sun Valley?
Actually, no. I'm from Ridley.
Ridley? I hope you drove here.
No, I walked.
Why here?
Had a bad day at school and decided to walk it off. Ended up here.
That's a long walk, Michelle. I guess you must have had a really bad day.
Stacy smiles, which causes Michelle to smile too.
Plus, I'm grounded, so I'm sure I'll be in trouble when I finally get home.
Grounded? Why, if I can ask?
Long story. But I graduate in 2 weeks, so I'm not sweating it.
You sure you can come here over the next 2 weeks?
Michelle turns her head, looks into the woods surrounding the court.
I'm sure.
She turns back to Stacy, smiling. She holds out her hands for the ball. Stacy delivers a bounce pass.
Let's get to work on your game.
Touch. June 22nd, 2012. Exterior. High school football field. Day. Students mill about, wearing their caps and gowns. Parents and family are beginning to take their seats in the football stands. Michelle stands alone amongst her classmates, watching their excitement. Stephanie sees her, calls out her name. Michelle smiles, waves. Stephanie comes bouncing over to her.
Michelle!
When she reaches Michelle, they embrace.
Can you believe it? We are done with this place.
I can barely hold in my excitement.
Michelle laughs to herself sarcastically.
What's wrong, girl? In an hour, we are officially moving on with the rest of our lives, meaning Wildwood for the summer.
Michelle looks melancholy. Steph finally catches on.
I'm sorry. I know you've been going through a lot. I don't know what you've been doing with yourself after school these past 2 weeks, but I've given you space. But Michelle, it's time to try and move on from the past and go running into the future.
You sound like a cliche from a reality show.
Michelle smiles. Steph nudges her shoulder.
I will force you to have fun, beginning with Rob Johnson's party tonight. You are going, right?
As if I need a reason to get trashed, of course.
Don't forget to bring your suitcase with you because we're leaving straight from the party for the shore tonight. Are your parents here?
Michelle turns, points to the bleachers where they are sitting. Stephanie waves to them, and they wave back. Steph turns to look Michelle directly.
No cliche, our future has started and it's going to be awesome.
Michelle forces a smile.
See you after commencement so I can say bye to your parents before we leave. Reassure them once again their darling daughter will be safe with me this summer.
In other words, lie to them.
Stephanie gives her a devilish smile.
Hell yeah.
Stephanie and her enthusiasm bounce away. An announcement is heard over the field's PA system.
Class of 2018, please take your places.
There is some cheering and yelling as the students and their families begin to separate. Michelle turns to walk to her place on the field when Rick steps in front of her.
Hey, stranger.
Hi, Rick.
You've been avoiding me the last 2 weeks.
Hey, I'm sorry. It's nothing like that.
Where have you been after school? Your manservant waits every day after school to deliver you safely to your palace.
He chuckles. Michelle forces a smile.
Seriously, you okay? What have you been doing the past 2 weeks after school, if it's okay to ask?
I've been helping out someone who needed my help.
Rick looks at her, waiting for more information to come, then realizes it's not coming.
Okay, gotcha. It's a secret.
They look at one another, an awkward pause.
I'm sorry if you think I've been avoiding you since that day together.
Think. At least twice you saw me walking towards you in the halls, and both times you turned around.
I'm sorry. Really sorry, Rick. It isn't you. It's me. My head's fucked up right now.
I know. It's all right, Michelle. Really. I just wanted to make sure we're okay with each other because I really like you. That day was incredible.
Michelle gives him an actual real smile.
I just want to make sure I'm not a piece of meat that needs to be branded.
He gives her a sarcastic grin, which she returns.
I see what you did there, Rick. Clever.
The voice over the PA makes the same announcement.
Time to make it official.
Yep.
Are you going to Rob's tonight?
I'll be there.
Cool. So will I. Can I look for you?
Michelle gives him a warm smile.
I'd like that.
They stand smiling at each other.
Okay. See you tonight.
Yes, you will.
Interior. Michelle Barton's bedroom. Dusk. Michelle finishes closing her suitcase. She stands in the middle of her room, taking a long look at everything there is to see from her life there. She takes a deep sigh, grabs her suitcase, and walks outside the room. She again takes another long look, then turns out the light. Interior. Barton master bedroom. Later. Michelle looks inside, sees her mother sitting on a chair, looking sadly out the window. When Michelle places her suitcase on the floor, she turns around.
Already?
Michelle nods yes. Her mom waves for her to come across from her to the edge of the bed. Michelle comes, sits facing her mom. Both look incredibly sad.
We're so incredibly proud of you, Michelle.
Thanks, Mom.
They look into each other's eyes, wanting to say more, but they are unable to.
I won't nag you again about calling us every night while you're at the shore this summer, but
I will call every night, promise.
This gets a smile from her mom. Again, an awkward pause.
I know you've waited a long time to leave here.
Leave him, Mom. Leave him.
Her mom looks uncomfortable.
I don't know what to say, Mom. I love you very much.
They stare at one another, tears in both their eyes, the sadness remaining.
He loves you very much, Michelle.
Michelle lowers her eyes. She says nothing. Her mom's face takes on a look of shame.
I don't know what caused you two to drift apart these last few.
I think you did, Mom.
Michelle brings her eyes to her mom's. Her mom looks hurt.
What's done is done. It can never be erased.
Michelle reaches out and embraces her mom. When done, she stands, turns, grabs her suitcase, and leaves the room. Her mom bawling, watching her daughter leave her. Interior. Barton living room. Later. Michelle stands at the front door, turns around, looks closely at everything in the room. Her father enters. They look at each other awkwardly.
You weren't leaving without saying goodbye, were you?
Michelle slowly shakes her head no. There is an unbearable silence.
Did you say goodbye to your mom?
Again, Michelle nods yes without making eye contact with her dad.
When are you leaving for the shore?
Michelle speaks, her voice low, cracking from pent-up emotion.
Right after we leave the party.
Stephanie won't be drinking at the...
No, she won't.
Again, another awkward silence.
Well, I hope you two have a great time.
Remember when you used to push me on the swing out back?
He's caught off guard by her interruption, her question. Michelle is now looking at him, directly into his eyes. He nods yes.
And how scared I was at first to go too high.
Yes.
His body language looks like he's being interrogated from a crime.
You would always reassure me I'd be safe, that you'd never let anything happen to me.
His eyes lower.
I trusted you. You were my hero, my everything.
Michelle says nothing more until her father gathers the courage to look back up at her.
I trusted you.
Their eyes lock, tears starting to form in hers.
God may forgive, but I don't have to.
With that, she picks up her suitcase, turns and walks out the front door, leaving her father slumped against the wall, head down. Exterior. Front sidewalk, Barton house. Later. Michelle places down her suitcase, wipes her eyes, then picks up the suitcase and begins walking down the street, never looking back. Exterior. Back of a store. Night. Michelle stands in front of a big dumpster, looks around to see if anyone is watching. She then opens the dumpster's lid, throws her suitcase into it, followed by her pocketbook. Exterior. Rob Johnston's house party. Michelle enters the backyard, which is full of her classmates, talking, dancing, drinking. She looks around, doesn't see Stephanie or Rick, but she spots the keg. She walks over, grabs a big red cup, and taps the keg. When the cup is full, she brings it to her lips and starts gulping the beer. She turns and Stephanie is standing right behind her, surprising Michelle.
Hey!
Michelle has some beer dripping from her mouth.
Oops, forgot you have a drinking problem.
Stephanie laughs loudly.
You're not drunk, are you?
No way, had one. I'm just high on life.
Stephanie again laughs. She then looks around, Michelle on the ground.
Where's your suitcase?
Everything is inside on this porch.
You didn't walk all this way with your stuff, did you?
No, my dad drove me.
Really? Nice. So you two still have a chance to patch whatever's wrong.
Michelle gulps down the rest of her beer, goes back to the keg to fill up.
You okay, Shell? You seem a little intense.
Michelle brings the cup to her lips and starts chugging again.
I'm great. I guess maybe the reality of leaving is hitting.
Understood. But you need this to escape this place and everything that's happened the past few months.
Michelle takes in her words and chugs her beer.
Slow down there, Sparky.
Have you seen Rick?
Last I saw of him, he was in the basement playing Call of Duty with Pete Sizemore.
Michelle finishes her drink, places the cup under the keg, and refills.
Thanks. I think I'm gonna go find him.
Cool. You two kids have fun. Come find me when you're ready to leave. Effing Wildwood, girlfriend!
Stephanie is all smiles, but Michelle looks distant, giving a fake smile, then turning to find Rick. Interior, Johnson's basement. Later. Michelle sees Rick across the basement, by the TV, where a group of kids are watching/playing a video game. Rick senses he's being watched, turns his head and looks, sees Michelle. He gives her a big smile. He begins walking towards her, she towards him, until they meet.
Hey, great, you made it.
He reaches in to kiss her. She turns her head, and his kiss lands on her cheek.
Whoa, sorry.
It's okay, Rick. I'm just not there right now.
He looks at her, sees that she looks tense.
You okay?
She looks into his eyes, says nothing, breaks the look by chugging her beer.
Michelle, we're done. Done! It's supposed to be a time to celebrate.
I know, I'm trying.
She downs the rest of her beer.
This is helping.
Need a refill?
She nods yes. He takes her cup from her.
Be right back.
Can you meet me upstairs? Maybe in one of the bedrooms? I have to find Steph. If I'm late, please wait for me.
Rick smiles slyly. Michelle doesn't react, turns and walks towards the basement steps. Interior, Johnson bedroom. Later. Michelle stands looking at the floor, looking sad outside of the bedroom. Rick reaches the top of the steps, turns his head to the right and sees Michelle. Walks towards her.
As you requested.
He hands her a red cup filled with beer. She takes it and immediately starts downing the liquid. Rick watches with a smirk.
Whoa there.
She completes half the beer, looks at Rick, who has a huge smile on his face.
I'm sorry, but you're not getting lucky tonight.
Rick's eyes widen, surprised.
I could change your mind.
She grabs Rick by the hand and leads him inside the bedroom. A nightlight is on so they can see each other after she shuts the door. Rick stands looking confused. Michelle looks into his eyes, bringing the cup to her lips and finishes the rest of the beer. She grabs Rick's cup in her hand and places both of them on the night table. She looks up into his eyes again, sadness in her eyes.
What's going on, Michelle?
I just need I just need to be held.
His demeanor changes as he knows there's something wrong.
Help.
Yeah, a real hug. Not one out of sympathy or after you have sex or when you're greeting someone.
He studies her eyes.
I need to be held like it's the last hug you'll ever give.
Rick continues studying her eyes, knows she really needs that kind of hug, reaches out and takes her in his arms, and she melts inside his arms. She frees her arms and wraps them around his waist, head buried in his upper torso.
I'm so tired.
Interior, Johnson bedroom. Later, Michelle lies in Rick's arms on a bed, wide awake. Rick wakes up.
Wow. Oh, we passed out. What time is it?
Time for me to go. Steph is downstairs waiting for me. We're going to the store tonight.
Rick sits up in bed, sees the alarm clock. It reads 1:10. Michelle sits up too, takes a deep breath, then stands. Rick stands as well.
You're not going to rush out on me, are you?
Steph is waiting, probably pissed because I made her wait this whole time.
Rick comes to her. She looks up into his eyes.
Thank you.
Why do you look so sad?
I guess because I'm leaving here for good.
For good. It's just for the summer, right?
Michelle gives him a fake, comforting smile.
And you told me I can come visit any time. That's still on, right?
She reaches up, takes him into her arms, and gives him a long kiss goodbye. She slowly releases him, turns and walks out of the room. Rick watches dumbfounded. Exterior, shore house, early morning. It is very foggy outside as Rick stands at a front door, knocking. The sound of seagulls can be heard. The door is opened by Steph, looking very groggy.
Hey, Rick. Did she forget her key?
Steph slumps from the door into the kitchen. Rick walks in looking confused. Steph grabs a Coke from the fridge and sits at the kitchen table. Turns and sees Rick just standing there.
Can't you at least be a gentleman and carry her luggage in?
Rick looks even more confused.
Who are you talking about?
Michelle? Duh.
I don't understand what you're saying. Why would I be helping her carry her luggage in when she came here with you, like 5 hours ago?
Stephanie puts her Coke down hard on the table, causing it to bubble over.
She told me last night she was staying later with you and you'd be driving her here this morning.
They look at each other.
Shit!
Stephanie bolts from her chair and runs into the living room, grabs her purse and pulls out her cell and taps it.
You mean she's not here?
No!
Stephanie holds the phone anxiously.
Fuck, she's not... Michelle! It's Steph. You better call me as soon as you turn your cell on and call me back or I'm gonna kick your ass. You hear me? I'm not kidding around. You have me scared shitless. Call me!
She shuts her phone, looks up at Rick. Interior, Detective Schmidt's office, morning. The detective sits at his desk with a far-off look on his eyes when his partner walks in.
Guess you heard.
His look disappears when he hears his partner's voice look up at him.
That her suitcase was found last night in Chang's dumpster? Yeah, I did.
There goes our only supposed witness.
Schmidt looks up angrily.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way.
Schmidt calms down.
Listen, I know you care about the girl, but this is missing persons now. We're in the middle of a homicide case.
Schmidt shakes his head.
She's a runaway. She'll turn up, safe and sound.
It makes no sense. She was going to the shore for the entire summer. She already was running away.
Jensen shrugs his shoulders, turns to leave the office.
Try and stay focused, Bob. It's only been 3 days. She's going to turn up, either back at home or at the shore house.
Schmidt gives his partner a "I hope so" look. Exterior, Detective Schmidt's car, night. Schmidt drives his car past people camping out on the streets, some holding little American flags, others with lit sparklers. Interior, Detective Schmidt's home, later. The detective is standing silently in his daughter's bedroom. We can see posters on the wall, plaques on shelves, etc. He walks over to a desk in the corner. His eyes take in all the books that are there. He reaches out and grabs a book that says Sarah's Life. He looks up, pondering, then lays the book back down. Exterior, dark streets, night. Michelle is standing by a very large tree on a street corner. She is smoking a cigarette, her hand visibly shaking. When she tosses the butt onto the ground, we see at least a dozen more right around her feet. She turns to look at the house she's standing in front of. It is surrounded by unkept shrubbery. The grass is long overdue for a cutting. She lights another cigarette and begins pacing, eyes never leaving the front door of the house. After only a few drags, she tosses it to the ground. Taking a deep breath, she walks past the shrubbery, up the cement walkway, till she reaches the steps. She climbs up the steps and knocks on the door. Her eyes are open wide. The door slightly opens. Exterior, Detective Schmidt's car. Night. We see Schmidt driving in his car. The sounds of fireworks can be heard and seen in the dark sky. Exterior, house, night. Michelle stands tense at the front door, looking at the opening. She seems to jump when she hears a voice.
Yes?
It's me.
Yes.
I told you I'd be here tonight.
There's silence.
You know why I'm here.
No. No, I don't.
I'm not fucking around here. You know why I'm here, and if you don't let me in, I'll start screaming.
There's a brief pause, and then the door opens slowly. The light from inside the house illuminates Michelle's face, making her look angelic in spite of her fear. Interior, Detective Schmidt's car, night. We see the detective pull up in front of the Barton's house. Interior, house, night. Michelle cautiously enters the house, eyes dancing everywhere. She doesn't see anyone, but the house is a disheveled mess.
Where are you?
I'm in the living room, to your right.
Michelle swallows hard and starts walking to the right. Exterior, Barton house, night. The detective is walking up a walkway to the front door. The sound of fireworks can still be heard. Interior, house, living room, night. The living room is bathed in jittery lights coming from a dozen or so candles. Michelle looks around and sees pictures of Jesus on the wall, some hanging upside down. She also sees crucifixes hanging on a wall, all of which are hanging upside down. She is startled by a voice behind her.
Why are you here?
Michelle quickly turns and sees a medium-sized man with a beard standing about 15 feet from her. His eyes are wide, yet strangely calm. When he sees the panic in Michelle's eyes, he smiles. He moves one step towards her. She backs up one step.
I know who you are and what you've done.
Exterior, Barton front door, night. The detective knocks on the front door. Interior, home, living room, night.
Who am I?
Your name is Joseph Zderek.
His smile disappears.
How do you know my name?
Michelle says nothing, watching him closely as he walks over to a desk. He reaches and picks up 2 envelopes, holds them up.
How do you know my name?
Interior, Barton living room, night. The detective is standing with Michelle's mom.
I wanted to thank you for allowing me to come on such short notice.
It's no bother at all. I'm just a little confused. I don't think you were working her case.
I'm not. I honestly don't know why I'm here. I guess it's just a hunch. I was in my daughter's room tonight and, well, I don't know.
You have a daughter.
I did. She died a few years ago.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You couldn't have known.
There's a brief, uncomfortable pause.
If it's okay, can I see Michelle's room?
Of course. The police have been here before, but if you think you can find something that helps us find our daughter,
She grows quiet as she tries to fight back tears.
I'll take you up.
Interior, home, living room, night. Michelle stands as Zderek holds 2 letters in his hands.
Your AAA card.
Zderek's eyes open wide as he looks at her in disbelief.
How?
You held it up to the window of Rachel's car when her car broke down.
Zderek's eyes show confusion as he looks at the letters in his hands. He tries to say something, but can't. Michelle seems to grow in confidence.
I couldn't see your face, but I could see the name on the card.
He looks into her eyes, studying her closely.
It's amazing what you can do with Google search, especially with a name like yours.
Zderek becomes agitated.
Who are you?
She says nothing. He grows angrier.
Who are you with?
No one. I think my letters clearly stated I have not told the police anything, or we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Derek begins pacing, thinking to himself, stops, looks her directly in the eyes, his eyebrows raising up with menace. He stares her down.
Boom!
Michelle jumps back, scared. He smiles at her with the devil in his eyes. He paces again, thinking, stops.
It's obvious you're scared. But how do I know you're telling the truth?
Because I'm here, and I do not lie.
He looks back into her eyes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Michelle stares him back down.
Let's cut to the chase. You killed those girls, you sick fuck.
This causes Derek to smirk at Michelle.
I still don't know.
Please forgive me, Father. I'm a sinner, and I'm evil.
The letters fall from his hands to the floor.
I held all of the victims' hands, and when I did, I could see what kind of twisted monster you are.
He looks at her in almost a shock.
What kind of fucking monster rapes little girls with crucifixes?
Interior, Barton, home, night. Miss Barton leads the detective to Michelle's room.
We're here.
She turns on the bedroom light.
I'm sorry. Her father couldn't be here, but he's at the hospital. One of our parishioners is dying, and he's there to give last rites and comfort the family.
She smiles uncomfortably as she walks into the room, with the detective right behind her. Interior, home, living room, night.
I'm not here to absolve you, or to condemn you. I don't know you, but in a way, we're both alike.
He tilts his head.
How?
Our loss of faith have driven us both to this moment.
Joe looks at her, confused.
My father is a Lutheran pastor. I know what it's like to have your faith taken away by those you trust. Love.
Joe's eyes soften.
I didn't tell the police because
He can see her visibly shaken.
I wrote the letters to get you to stop killing.
You say you don't lie, but I don't know who you are. It sounds like a lie to me saying you could see the murders of those poor girls simply by touching their hands.
He's getting his mental well-being back. He steps towards Michelle.
You said you couldn't see the murderer's face. Anyone could find a lost card and say it's theirs. If you are so sure I'm the killer, why send the letters? Why not go to the police?
He steps even closer to her. She moves back 2 steps.
Why would you come face to face with someone you think is a monster?
Interior, Michelle Barton's bedroom, night.
Everything is as she left it, and the police before you.
Thank you.
I hope you find what you're looking for, especially if it helps us find where our daughter is.
He smiles at her. Then she turns and leaves the room. He starts walking inside, eyes searching. Its contents. Interior, home, living room, night. Derek takes another step closer to Michelle. She backs up one more. He senses her fear, causing his breathing to become noticeably heavier.
Answer the fucking question! Why wouldn't you call the police? Why are you standing before someone you believe is a killer?
Michelle is now visibly shaking. He takes 1 step closer. Michelle steps back 1 more, but now her back is up against a wall. He's within 10 feet of her. Joe's eyes are dancing.
Take off your clothes.
What?
To make sure you're not wearing a wire.
I think this is technically...
You come into my house late at night after you sent those menacing letters, telling me some bullshit story of how you witnessed the murders, accusing me of being a serial killer? If you have nothing to hide, take off your fucking clothes now. Or leave.
Michelle lowers her eyes and starts removing her clothes. Interior, Michelle Barton's bedroom, night. Schmidt walks around her room, taking it all in. His eyes are drawn to a Bible sitting on her bookshelf. He pulls it out from the other books, studies it closely. Interior, home, living room, night. Michelle stands, quivering in the corner of the room, wearing only her bra and panties. His eyes are soaking in her body. Michelle tries not to look at him. Sweat starts beading on his forehead as his eyes travel down her body. They stop when he sees her thighs.
What are those from?
She sees where his eyes are concentrating on. She doesn't answer. His demeanor seems to change in a blink of an eye.
I have the same.
He unbuttons his jeans, pulls down the zipper, then pulls his pants down enough to expose the tops of his thighs. Michelle looks and sees crosses cut into his skin.
Those are for me.
He turns, pulls down his boxers to expose his ass. They are covering his ugly, cruel scars resembling crosses.
And these are from my mom.
He pulls up his pants and zipper, turns back to her.
For your sake, I hope yours are self-inflicted.
Michelle stands silently, quivering.
Now turn around slowly.
Slowly she starts turning around in a circle. When she's done, she looks at him.
No liars.
He smiles.
So far, no lies. Now the biggie, the one you haven't answered yet. Why are you here?
Interior, Michelle Barton's bedroom, night. Schmidt begins leafing through the Bible. Halfway through, a small booklet falls out from the hollowed-out quarter of the Bible when it is hiding. He picks it up, starts reading it.
I know who he is.
Interior, home living room, night.
Why are you here?
Her eyes are looking down.
Look at me and answer the fucking question.
Interior, Michelle Barton's bedroom, night. Schmidt's eyes widen in horror as he reads some more of Michelle's diary.
I sent the killer 2 letters in hopes he'd stop killing. I didn't do this because God wanted me to. I had my own reasons for sending the letters.
Interior, home living room, night. He stands before her. He lowers his right hand to his crotch and starts rubbing himself.
You sick fuck.
Answer the goddamn questions. Why didn't you go to the police and why are you here?
I didn't tell the police because... I'm here because I'm your next victim.
Zederick falls back as if struck with a punch, stunned. Interior, Barton house, night. Schmidt closes the Bible, places it in his pocket, and runs out of the room. Interior, home living room, night.
You want to die?
Yes.
He backs away from her. He runs his hands through his hair, trying to figure out what's going on.
This is a setup.
He stops, looks at her, then approaches her quickly. Michelle cowers a little.
This is a fucking setup.
Michelle gathers some strength, leans towards him.
Listen, you fuck. This isn't a setup. Kill me, or I run from this house dressed like this, screaming rape. The police will be here, and when they are, I'm sure they will find interesting things in the basement.
He leans his body towards her. Their eyes lock. He backs off first, turning, then pacing around the room, talking to himself. Michelle cannot make out what he is saying. Interior, Detective Schmidt's car, night. Schmidt is driving. Sounds of fireworks can be heard.
I'm not doing this for God. I'm doing this to spite him. His gift dies with me. I'm his next victim. His name is Joseph Zederick, and he lives at...
Interior, home, living room, night. Michelle watches Zederick pace about the room, talking to himself. Without notice, he rushes her, grabs her by the shoulders, and throws her against the wall.
You want to die, huh? Dying will cleanse you, release you? This is your cross to bear?
Face to face with her, eyes boring into hers. Suddenly he grabs her hair and pulls her away from the wall. Interior, Detective Schmidt's car, night. Schmidt is seen hanging up the car's radio. Car speeding through streets, sirens blaring. Interior, house, basement, night. Zederick dragging her by her hair down the stairs. She doesn't scream or yell for help.
The pain you're about to experience will last an eternity, bitch.
He throws her on top of the table, then quickly fastens the restraints to her wrists and ankles. Michelle does not resist. Interior, Detective Schmidt's car, night. We see him in his car racing to Zederick's house.
You have a daughter. I need to find my diary, or someone would. I hope it's you, Bob. I'm sorry if I've disappointed you. I'm sorry if you think I'm a coward or selfish. I'm not strong enough to handle all of this. I can't live in a world where my father harmed me beyond words, where a God can watch innocent people die. I will not live my life using God's gift. My letters have got Zederick to stop. I hope you find this in time to stop him from taking another victim after me. You're a good person. Sarah was lucky to have a father like you.
Interior, house basement, night. Michelle lies still on the table, strapped and gagged. Zederick's back is facing Michelle. She can see him place a ski mask over his head. When he turns, his eyes appear to be black, cold. In his right hand is a long, serrated knife.
This is what you wanted. You have no idea what you're about to experience. And make this last a very long time.
His eyes seem to be smiling as the knife to her abdomen. He watches her eyes as he slowly pushes the tip of the knife into her skin. She does not flinch from the pain. Instead, she looks sad, a tear forming in her right eye.
I'm going to make you suffer.
He pulls the knife out, watching her, waiting for a scream through the gag. Nothing. His eyes look angry. He turns, grabs another knife from the metal tray, turns back to her. He brings close to her face, his breathing heavy. She shows no sign of fear.
Think you're brave?
He takes the knife to the front part of her bra and slices it open. His left hand grabs her left nipple, pulls it out as far as it can, then he brings the knife to it. Close-up of Michelle's eyes fill with tears. Interior, Detective Schmidt's car, night. His car makes a quick right, then comes to a stop on the curb where Michelle had been smoking before knocking on Zederick's front door. Two other cop cars come up behind his. Interior, house basement, night. Zederick stands back, eyes blinking inside his mask, studying Michelle's face, eyes. He steps back, body language showing disappointment. He takes the same knife, brings it to her lower belly, and plunges it in deep. Michelle's body flinches as he pulls it out slowly, blood dripping from the knife. He again looks deeply into her eyes. Again, she shows no fear, no fight. He stumbles back.
Jesus Christ.
His eyes look confused as he plunges the knife into her left arm. He waits for a scream that never comes.
God sent you here, didn't he? You're an angel.
Michelle shakes her head no.
Oh my God, what have I done?
He looks at her bloodied body with horror in his eyes.
What have I done? God, please forgive me. I'm a sinner and I'm evil.
He looks her in her eyes.
I'm sorry.
He takes a crucifix off the wall and lays it on her belly, next to one of her gaping wounds.
I'm so sorry.
With the knife in hand, he leaves Michelle and climbs the basement steps. She begins struggling with her restraints as we hear sirens. Exterior, house, night. Schmidt and 4 officers go up the front steps, Schmidt kicking open the door. Interior, basement, night. We can barely see Michelle's right arm strapped to the table when we hear the door being kicked in. Interior, home, living room, night. Schmidt and the 4 officers, guns drawn, enter the house.
Michelle?
They slowly search the house. Schmidt sees a light coming from around the corner. He and another officer slowly walk towards the light. A look of disgust comes over the officer's face.
What the hell is that smell?
Schmidt jumps into the room, gun drawn. The officer follows behind him, close-up of their faces as we see what they are looking at.
Jesus Christ.
Schmidt walks over to the body of Joe Zederick, slumped over in a chair, flies buzzing about him. His face is decomposing, blood caked and dried all over the floor. Both of Zederick's wrists are cut deeply. A panicked look comes over Schmidt's face.
Michelle?
Interior, house, basement, night. Schmidt is seen running down the basement steps. He stops when he sees a body tied to a table. He runs to it. Michelle lies, decomposing, eyes closed.
Oh my God, no.
He frantically searches for a pulse that isn't there. With tears in his eyes, he unties her hands from the table. Interior, morgue, opening scene. Close up of a hand reaching out to touch the hand of a dead body laying on the cold slab in the morgue. It is Pastor Barton's hand, touching Michelle's. He begins crying. Interior, Detective Schmidt's office. Night. An officer walks into Schmidt's office.
Hey, Bob. The coroner found this inside Miss Barton's shorts pocket.
Close up of the paper going into Schmidt's hand. When the officer leaves, Schmidt opens it. Exterior, playground, day. We see Stacy talking to Michelle after Stacy is done playing basketball.
His name is Joseph Zederick. He lives at 343 Baylor Drive in Wallingford. If you're reading this, I'm dead and my pain is over. If there is a God, maybe I will find out why he allows so much suffering in a world he created. I believed in him once. I hope he catches the killer. I don't want another innocent life taken. Hopefully, I helped save a young girl's life.
We see Stacy smiling as she walks away from Michelle. Michelle stares off into woods.
Maybe she will get to know God's love for her.
Point of view, Michelle. We see what Michelle was looking at in her scene with Stacy. It is Joe Zederick behind a tree, watching Stacy walk away.
I pray that for her.
Close-up of Stacy's smiling face as she walks away from Michelle. Fade to black.